Hello friends, we are going to see now what is a burnout, a very serious condition which can ruin lives and careers and cause a great loss to the society. What is burnout? Herbert Freudenberger, a psychologist, described burnout as a severe stress condition that leads to severe physical, mental, and emotional exhaustion. It's a psychological syndrome that can be defined as emotional and physical conditions related to working environment characterized by emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and low personal achievement. What does burnout do? It reduces productivity and saps one's energy, leaving one feeling increasingly cynical, resentful, helpless, and hopeless. Eventually, one may feel like one has nothing more to give. The negative effects of burnout are seen in every aspect of life, including work, home, and social life. It can also cause changes to one's body that make one vulnerable to illnesses like colds and flu. Burnout is known to cause a significantly higher risk of making errors in diagnosis, decision making, and management. What causes a burnout? Who is at risk? Older physicians and senior managers with more years of experience seem to be at a higher risk of burnout than younger ones. Men tend to become more depersonalized than women, while women may get more emotionally exhausted than men. But overall burnout rate is not affected by gender. Burnout is related to one's work. It's due to a mismatch between a person and six aspects of his work environment: his workload, control, reward, community, fairness, and values. Burnout is directly proportional to the degree of mismatch. Stress is a major contributor to the development of burnout. Everyone who is continually exposed to high levels of stress is susceptible to the development of burnout. Systems factors account for 80% of burnout cases and individual factors for the remaining 20%. The latter include personality traits and lifestyle. It is more common with highly dedicated, high achieving type A personality individuals with an obsession for perfection. These persons need to be in control and are reluctant to delegate to others. It is also seen in those with a pessimistic view of self and the world. An imbalance in work and life can lead to a burnout. Financial pressures significantly contribute to development of burnout. After all, if there is no pressure to make money, one can live without stress and there won't be any burnout. Of course, very few individuals are so lucky. There are a number of system related factors leading to burnout. The type of job is very important. First responders, doctors, nurses, and software engineers are especially vulnerable. Among the medical specialists that experience burnout rates of 40% or more are anesthesia, emergency medicine, family medicine, internal medicine, obstetrics gynecology, radiology, and surgery. It is seen when the employee has little or no control over their work. It occurs more often when employee is held accountable for outcomes beyond their control, when the job expectations are unclear or overly demanding, there is unreasonable time pressure, the work environment is chaotic or high pressure, and the work is monotonous, boring, or unchallenging. It tends to occur when workplace dynamics is dysfunctional and work environment is hostile. For example, bullying or undermining by co-workers and micromanagement by boss, faulty or deficient leadership behavior. It occurs more often when the employee is forced to do non-productive work that eats away the productive time, like computerization for electronic health records in many healthcare facilities, which can be done by data entry operators, and sending reports to health authorities and government, which can be done by clerks. Lifestyle related factors are also quite important. These include work-life imbalance in the form of working too much without enough time for socializing or relaxing. An absence of close, supportive relationships leading to isolation at work and in personal life is a significant factor in development of burnout. Having to take on too many responsibilities without adequate help and not getting enough sleep. Physician burnout has some specific factors as compared to those in other people. It usually arises from work-related stressors such as excessive workload and long hours, clinical burden, clerical burden in addition to it, electronic medical records, complex patient-related decisions, inefficient work process, hostile working environment, poor work-life integration, and organizational factors like malaligned management culture, values, and poor leadership behavior. What are the developmental stages of burnout? Unlike a cold or the flu, burnout doesn't occur suddenly. There are 12 phases of development of a burnout. The first stage is excessive drive or ambition. The second is pushing oneself to work harder and harder to achieve that ambition. That causes the third one, neglecting one's own needs like eating well, sleep, and exercise. Then one transfers blame for one's troubles to their boss, colleagues, or the demands of one's job. There is no time for non-work related needs and social events like parties, movies, and picnics. Then one starts getting impatient with others, believing them to be incompetent and lazy. The next phase is withdrawal from family and friends, rejecting social invitations to parties, movies, and picnics. Then one's behavior becomes aggressive. One snaps at loved ones for no apparent reason. Depersonalization follows, in which one feels detached from one's life and one's ability to control own life. Inner emptiness or anxiety develops, to compensate for which one may resort to substance use, overeating, or gambling. Depression follows, so that life loses its meaning and one begins to feel hopeless. Finally, mental or physical collapse occurs. What are the symptoms of burnout? There are symptoms of exhaustion, symptoms of cynicism and detachment, and symptoms of ineffectiveness. These include apathy, being critical, change in appetite, cynicism, depression, disillusionment with work, dread of work, excessive use of sarcasm, fatigue, feeling hopeless, feeling persecuted, habitual complaining, headaches, hopelessness, impatience, increased illnesses, insomnia, irritability, isolation, lack of enjoyment, lack of motivation, loss of energy, loss of job satisfaction, loss of productivity, memory issues, missing deadlines, missing work goals, negative attitude, nervousness, poor performance, self medication, trouble concentrating. Of course, a given individual will not have all these symptoms. Someone may have one or two of these, someone may have more. These differ from individual to individual. What are the physical signs and symptoms of burnout? A feeling of being tired and drained almost all the time, feeling a lack of energy to be productive, headaches, stomach aches, and muscle pain, repeated infections like colds, flu due to lowered immunity, a change in appetite and or sleep habits. What are the emotional signs and symptoms of a burnout? A feeling of self-doubt and being a failure, lack of a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction, finding it difficult to concentrate on anything, loss of motivation, need to drag oneself to work and then trouble getting started with work, a feeling of dread getting out of bed each morning, feeling helpless, trapped, defeated, and being alone in the world. One may stop socializing and confiding in friends, family members, and co workers. Cynicism and negativism. It is actually a way of distancing oneself psychologically from one's work. Irritability. One may lose their cool with friends, co workers, and family members more easily. Depression and anxiety. Escape fantasies. One may fantasize about running away or going on a solo vacation. In extreme cases, they may turn to drugs, alcohol, or food as a way to numb their emotional pain. What are the behavioral signs and symptoms of a burnout? 1. Withdraws from responsibilities, isolates oneself from others, procrastinates, taking longer to get things done, starts using food, drugs, or alcohol to cope, take out frustration on others, skip work or come in late and leave early. Is there a method of suspecting or diagnosing a burnout without first going to a specialist? One can use a rapid screening test to see if one is getting a burnout, as shown here. But if one has any of the symptoms and signs that we have seen before, this may not be necessary. It may be better to go to a specialist who knows about these things. Are there any interventions to reduce burnout? The idea behind diagnosing a burnout early is being able to take corrective measures effectively and in time. These interventions, the self-directed ones, which focus on individuals, and organizational ones, which focus on the work environment. Burnout cannot fully be resolved on an individual basis, but that is all the individual can do with certainty. Self-directed interventions include mindfulness technique, which we will see in a little detail later on. Stress management techniques and cognitive behavioral techniques for enhancing job competence and improving personal coping strategies and communication skills. Organization-directed interventions include making simple changes in the work schedules and environment, developing and implementing tasks to reduce stress levels, for example, reductions in the workload by improved teamwork, changes in the work evaluation, participation in decision making, and supervision to enhance job control and minimize job demands. The operation of the organization needs to be improved. The three famous R's for dealing with burnout are recognize, reverse, and resilience. One has to recognize by watch for the warning symptoms and signs of burnout. Then one has to reverse the damage by seeking support and managing stress. And resilience, one has to build one's resilience to stress by taking care of one's physical and emotional health. Achieving professional development and financial well-being, and nurturing family and social relationships. If one is religious and spiritual, these aspects can be used to strengthen all life components so that one can face challenges successfully as they occur. When one recognizes impending or existing burnout, one has to stop the current course of thinking and take steps to overcome the burnout and feel positive and healthy again. Burnout is not a permanent condition. It's reversible. The aim is to replenish one's physical and emotional energy and improve one's capacity to focus by discussing one's specific concerns and possible corrective options with the supervisor or boss. It is often possible that something can be worked out to resolve the difficulties. Engagement is another effective measure to resolve burnout. Being engaged with work has three dimensions: dedication, vigor, and absorption. This can be achieved by changing the way one looks at work, developing a positive outlook and enthusiasm. After all, if the work has to be done, one might as well do it with liking, concentration, and energy rather than trying to finish it somehow, anyhow. Engagement increases resilience. Building resilience helps one to grow mentally stronger, focus on their responsibilities, and avoid errors. Changes are often required at the job, in the team, or at organizational level. This can be materialized by talking to the supervisor or boss, negotiating, and showing good results after the changes are made by the administration. Quitting and finding another job one might love is not a very practical solution. Usually, work in any form is found to be boring or taxing by many people. It is an extremely lucky person or extraordinarily capable person who finds a job he loves and does it very well. We have to accept that one has to work to pay the bills and build a retirement fund. If one does not love one's work, one has to find some value in one's work and improve one's state of mind while working. One should try and focus on those aspects of the job, however small, that one does enjoy and finds fulfilling and satisfying. It gives a sense of purpose and control. It is not about doing what one likes, it is about liking what one does. If one still hates one's job, one should continue to do it well until something else is found that one loves. While at work, when one begins to feel overly tired or starts to doubt oneself, one should change one's behavior immediately so as to get away from the trigger which is causing these symptoms. One can switch temporarily to something else for the time being, complete it well, and then go back to what one was doing when it all started. It's like taking a brief but productive mental break. We will discuss immediate stress relief a little later. One should make small changes. If it is not possible to find an hour to exercise or be with loved ones, 5-minute chunks once an hour should be used to chat with a coworker or to walk around the block. Exposure to job stressors has to be reduced. Troublesome thoughts and feelings should be controlled and finally prevented. One should shift one's perspective. Cynicism needs to be curbed and negative thoughts and actions avoided. One must fight fanatic perfectionism. It is true that setting high personal achievement standards and achieving them is associated with lower rates of burnout. But fear based perfectionism is linked to higher burnout rates. Work is about enjoying it while it is being done, not about just finishing it successfully at any cost. It's a good idea to find a mentor. Coaches and mentors help one identify learning opportunities and activate positive relationships. One can simultaneously be a mentor too for a junior person. It's an effective way of breaking out of a negative cycle. Helping others builds relationships and gives immense pleasure. Even small things like a kind word or a friendly smile can make one feel better and help lower stress both for self as well as the other person. One should make friends at work and be more sociable with one's co-workers. Having friends to chat and joke with while at work can help relieve stress from an unfulfilling and demanding job and improve job performance. It can help reduce monotony and counter the effects of burnout. During a break, one should try interacting with one's colleagues instead of directing attention to one's smartphone. One should schedule social events together after work or join them if they are already there. These help to significantly reduce stress as well as broaden one's social circle. It doesn't have to involve a lot of time or effort too. Social contact is a powerful antidote to stress. Talking with a good listener is very effective in calming an agitated nervous system. A good listener is a close contact like one's partner, family, and friends who listens attentively without expressing judgment. One should focus on making the interaction pleasant rather than concentrating on what is burning one. One should limit contact with negative people. Such people just drag down one's mood. If one has to work with a negative person, the amount of time spent together should be minimized. It is very useful to connect with a social cause or a community group that is meaningful to one. It gives one an opportunity to talk to like minded people and to make new friends. It serves as a diversion from stressful work life. If one hates the job, meaning and satisfaction should be sought elsewhere in life, in one's family, friends, hobbies, or voluntary work until measures described before work to help one start liking the job. One should focus on the parts of one's life that bring one joy. One should remember to sprinkle some joy into each day. Creativity is a powerful antidote to burnout. One should try and nourish one's creative side, try something new, or resume a favorite hobby. This should have nothing to do with the source of stress, the work. Some time should be set aside every day as a relaxation time. Relaxation techniques like yoga, meditation, and deep breathing induce a state of restfulness that helps dissipate the stress. Vacations are great for preventing burnout, but vacation is not enough to resolve a burnout. The same stresses are right there on return from a vacation. That must change. The workload is very high on return from vacation because work is accumulated in one's absence. One also has to remember that one will have to do someone else's work when he goes on vacation to reciprocate his having looked after one's work in one's absence. That would surely cause new stress unless one has learned to cope with pressure in the meantime. If burnout seems inevitable, one may take a complete break from work to remove oneself from the stressful situation. This time away should be used to recharge one's batteries, sharpen the saw, and pursue other methods of recovery. Burnout is a sure sign that something important in one's life is malfunctioning. One should use this time to find solutions to the problem, to reflect, rest, and heal. Effective time management should be done to improve output. Time management is a big topic and cannot be covered here. Please see my video on that topic. If stress starts developing during work despite all long-term measures that we have discussed so far, an emergency measure is required to reduce stress in the moment. Though there are a number of techniques to relieve stress in the heat of the moment, like when stress symptoms suddenly start appearing, during a high pressured job interview, for example, or a disagreement with one's spouse, one cannot just excuse oneself to meditate or to take a long walk. In such situations, one needs something more immediate and accessible. A very effective method to do this is to engage one or more of the five senses: sight, sound, taste, smell, and touch, or through physical movement. If one has to find out what works for him best, it has to be done by trial and error. This way, one can stay calm and productive. We will see more about this a little later. But then, how does one identify that he is getting stressed? It's easy. One should listen to one's body, checking if one's muscles are tense or sore, if the stomach is tight or cramped, or one's jaw or hands are clenched. Some people become angry, agitated, or overly emotional under stress. They respond best to stress relief activities that calm one down. Some others become depressed or withdrawn under stress. They respond best to stress relief activities that are energizing and stimulating, as shown here. Some others freeze under stress. They respond to physical movements of the upper and lower limbs like walking, running, dancing, climbing, swimming. One has to remember that during such movements, one's focus has to be on one's body and the sensations in the limbs rather than one's troubles. This is a mindfulness technique. One should bring one's senses to the rescue, what is known as the sense-set focus. Different sensory experiences work for different people. This can require some experimentation by checking how quickly one's stress levels drop with different senses. Certain sights, sounds, smells, or thoughts. Here we see a guy who is visualizing a place where he had found immense mental peace. Exercise should be made a must, even if one feels like not doing it due to the stress or burnout. Exercise releases endorphins in the hypothalamus and pituitary gland, which relieve stress and boost one's mood. This is a powerful remedy for prevention and treatment of stress and burnout. One should exercise for at least 30 minutes per day at a time or divided into 3 sessions of 10 minutes each. A 10-minute walk or a jog improves one's mood for 2 hours. Rhythmic movements of arms and legs effectively improve one's mood and increase energy levels, sharpen focus, and relax both the mind and body. Walking, running, swimming, dancing, weights or resistance training, martial arts are all useful. It is best to combine cardio and weights exercises to achieve physical fitness along with management of stress and burnout. A balanced diet is important too. Intake of sugar and refined carbohydrates should be minimized. High carbohydrate foods quickly lead to a crash in mood and energy. One should also reduce intake of caffeine, hormones, stimulants, and foods with chemical preservatives. Omega-3 fatty acids are present in fatty fish like anchovies, herring, mackerel, salmon, and sardines, and also in walnuts, flaxseed, and seaweed. One or more of these should be included in the diet. One should avoid nicotine. It may seem to be calming when one is stressed, but it is a powerful stimulant and increases rather than lowers anxiety. One should avoid alcohol to minimize stress, or one should at least reduce its intake. Alcohol may reduce worry temporarily, but it can cause anxiety as its effects wear off. One must sleep well. Sleeplessness and feeling tired can aggravate burnout. One should avoid intake of caffeine before bedtime and ban television and smartphones from the bedroom. Meditation is quite important in prevention and management of stress and burnout. Mindfulness is a method of meditation that has been scientifically proved to be very effective in preventing and reversing burnout. It involves being aware of thinking and also of each of our sensory experiences, that is, seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, and feeling through touch. It is an 8-week behavioral program and an educational course that offers meditation techniques, including mindful awareness of daily activities and communication, body scanning, and simple yoga postures. It is based on following non judging, non striving, acceptance, letting go, beginner's mind, patience, trust, and non centering. A half hour per day is definitely worth it. Though the course is of 8 weeks, one should continue to do it even afterwards to maintain mental health and prevent stress or burnout in future. Free as well as paid courses are available on the net. Institutional measures for physicians include limitation of work hours. These have been imposed actually by Accreditation Council for Graduate Medical Education in 2003. This must be implemented strictly. There are similar limitations set for other work areas also. These limitations specify that resident physicians may work no more than 80 hours per week, averaged across 4 weeks, and no more than 24 consecutive hours, with 6 additional hours for transfer of care and educational activities. They must have at least 24 following hours off per week and at least 10 following hours off between shifts, and may take call no more frequently than one night in 3. The institute should implement hospital protocols for work duty division and structured roles. These are important factors to consider. Scheduling monthly provider meetings focused on work life and personal challenges, as well as difficult patient care management issues, is also important. Scheduling monthly provider meetings focused on work life and personal challenges, as well as difficult patient care management issues. Offloading non-essential tasks to non-physician staff, including hiring additional staff, having medical assistants enter patient data into the EMR, and consistently pairing medical attendants with clinicians, having clerks instead of physicians to track forms and sending faxes. Institutional management includes reducing time pressures with plans to increase primary care visit appointment times, building resilience to help physicians growing mentally stronger over the adversities, focus on their responsibilities with little or no room for errors, and bounce back stronger and maintain mental peace to avoid medical errors. Hospitals should provide paid leave to physicians along with time off to follow what they are particularly passionate about. Hospitals should provide funding for team building activities and strengthen work team relationship, and also give employees a feeling that they are worthy and cared for. I hope even institutional heads and middle level managers have watched this, because this last part is something that the institution has to do rather than the individuals. I hope this video helps prevent stress and burnout in all those young and not so young lives, which are important to productivity of the society. Thank you for a patient listening.